Hey everybody, it is CJ at Hippos R Us Gaming, and I wanted to talk about something really fun that I have recently been getting into, and how you can use gaming to really explore mindfulness and some mindfulness strategies. So before I even get started, I want to go over some of the mindfulness strategies and some of the pillars of mindfulness so that we have like a basis to go off of and how we're going to implement it. So to start off, when you're focusing on mindfulness, there's a couple things you need to focus on. It is, they're called the pillars of mindfulness, as I said earlier. So you want to keep a beginner's mind. You want to keep non-judgment, so it has to be a judgment-free zone. Patience is a big one. Acceptance, non-striving, trust, and letting go. Those are the pillars of mindfulness. So how are we going to implement these in gaming? So usually when I talk about mindfulness with some of my clients, I like to talk about how you can use it to really feel in the moment and connect it to the here and now. And what I'm doing here is, it's something that I've been doing recently. I've been creating characters. Let me pop it up, actually, the little graphic. I could pop it up, blow it up. Oops. Not that. Wrong screen, I shifted. Pop it up, blow it up. Let's make this a little bit bigger. As you can see, this is what I've started with World of Warcraft. It's, as you can see, I have my death count, my current best, which actually has changed. It is now level 10 for one of my characters. Hall of the Dead still only have one dead. Now, what does all this mean? Why am I exposing you all to this blatant chaos here? It seems almost nonsensical, right? So hardcore WoW Classic is something that's recently on the rise, and I've started to play other games hardcore. If you've been on this channel before, you might have seen some hardcore Borderlands that me and my fiance have started, which is like a one life challenge. And hardcore World of Warcraft is a community mod that people have put together to do something very similar. One life, you can't use the auction house, that type of a thing. So let's talk about some of those mindfulness pillars real quick, and how we can use this with hardcore if we wanted to practice by using hardcore, which I think is a really good tool for it. So starting off in hardcore, when you have a character die, it's gone. You're not getting it back. You have to delete your character or leave it as a ghost. So let's go back. This character is dead. A hardcore Dingleberry is always going to be a ghost. I cannot touch that character. I can, but then I'm not really sticking with the rules, and it kind of ruins the whole point of it. And if you remember, one of the pillars of mindfulness is that aspect of letting go. So I had to let go of this character. I have zero experience with classic WoW. I have very little with WoW as it is. And getting to level 8 was a feat for me. I was very proud of that. And then to lose it, you know, I know it's not that far, but there are people that are at max level that also lose their characters too. And that's a big aspect of it, is to put all that work into something and then to be comfortable with letting go of it. And that's just one of the pillars. So to judge into a little bit more of it, with hardcore World of Warcraft, one of the things, let's just HC. No, I don't want to make an alliance because the server is not alliance. Okay, HC Stabby. Is that gonna be a name? Okay. Sure, HC Stabby Gal. Okay, so since I do not have that experience with World of Warcraft, I do have experience with Borderlands quite a lot, so that kind of takes a little bit of it out. So it makes it a little bit difficult, but that doesn't mean that there's not something that I can always learn from it. So that's what we mean by that beginner's mindset. It doesn't mean that if I'm familiar with this location, for example, okay, my thing is going to be a little bit odd. This is just going to stay massive for whatever reason. This happened last time. But if I'm going to stick with, that beginner's mindset, and let's say I know this entire area like the back of my hand. Like, let's see. If I remember, this was one of the quests I did on my orc. I think I did the orc starting area back back when I first was starting retail, for whatever reason. So when we're playing with that beginner's mindset, a big part of it is really, it kind of helps with the immersiveness too, but these quest logs, if you could tell, so kill 8 boars, cool. Oh, there is nothing on my minimap. Actually, now that I realize that my camera is over there, let me see if I can move that real quick. Just peep this over. As you can see, quite literally, there's nothing on my minimap after having set this up. There's no indicator. Let's see, what does this point to? Points to Ratchet. That is not the quest. I have to kill these boars, right? So it's going to point out something, but it's not going to tell me where I need to go or what I need to do. And that's a really big appeal to, for me at least, to Classic, even though this is Wrath Classic. But a big appeal is I don't know where I'm going. I have to quite literally go through this, read some of the, sometimes they'll tell you go north of this location and, you know, basically just figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing. So that most definitely is an example of that not non-judgment, but beginner's mindset of I'm looking for things. Now, I've been playing hardcore Borderlands with my fiance as well. And we both played a lot of Borderlands 3. So, the beginner's mindset for us... Oh, that's interesting. The beginner's mindset for us is more so the idea of trying to shift the pace of the game. That is a very high-action game. Same with retail World of Warcraft. You want to move quickly in these games. You want to be able to avoid danger. You want to be able to get to whatever you're attacking quickly. It's all about being quick, right? Especially in Borderlands, it's a looter shooter. So often you just want to get as much shit done, tear through some things, and collect as much loot as you can. Okay? And that's where that beginner's mindset comes in, is we are slowing down the pace of the game. We are not allowing ourselves to just rush through. Yes, that is what the game is intended for. But that's not what we're going to do. So, we've got to slow down. That's the patient pillar. So we've talked about letting go, in hardcore at least, beginner's mindset, which generally in a newer game is going to be a little bit easier for people. However, if you're not new to the game, playing it in a different way. So let's say you play a lot of Call of Duty. Call of Duty is your go-to game. Let's say that's your thing. In Call of Duty, can you not just do pistols only? Okay, you can. You can. Can you not do knife only? You can. Can you do riot shield only? You can. Can you do LMGs only? You can. So it's more so, if you want to play on a game that you're familiar with, using said game in a way that is different, that's going to put you into that beginner's mindset. So, World of Warcraft for me, don't know it super well, but I absolutely don't know anything about Classic, which means this really puts me in that beginner's mindset. Next, non-judgment. So a big piece of it is that non-judgmental approach, which means we're not going to judge ourselves for mistakes we make, and we're not going to judge others for mistakes that they might make if they're on this journey with us. Mindfulness is all about experimentation, seeing what we can find out about ourselves, exploring the here and now, and taking notice of as much here and now as possible, and really slowing down. So, with that, that's kind of where some of that non-judgment comes in. So, one of the things that happened is after I died on my first character, I believe I still have that clip, I attacked something that most people know is a big no-no not to attack. I did not know. I went to it, I attacked it, got my ass kicked, and you know what? Lost that character, and it sucked, because at that time I had put quite a lot of time into that character. I think about 2-3 hours to get to level 8, which, yeah, not the greatest, a little embarrassing, but honestly, again, we're practicing that non-judgment. For me, that was new. For me, that's a success. And while the character died, I still had that experience. I still got to go through that and live that life of that character. Now that life is past, I have felt that loss, and I'm moving on to the next one, because really that's how we can get the most out of this this mindfulness journey. Is once a character does pass, we have to be ready to start, fresh and start over. We're beginners again. We do not have that gear. This character is brand new. I started with you all at the beginning of this stream, and that's part of it. Okay, so that's patience, that's non-judgment, beginner's mind, letting go. Trust is more so for like trust the process and that type of thing. A little bit less of a focus for this. And then we have non-striving, which is another pillar of mindfulness. Now, non-striving means I'm not having a goal. Overall, yes, I do have a goal. I want to hit max level. But if this character, HC Stabby Gal, does not make it to max level, I have to be able to accept that, which is the other pillar that we haven't talked about yet. I have to be able to accept that. And I have to know that that's not what my goal is here. My goal is to get something out of this, to be aware, to be in the moment with this game, and to get enjoyment out of it, but also practicing my awareness and mindfulness. Okay? So with that, if this character dies, or if I start setting goals for this character, it might be difficult. It's okay to set goals. But setting specific goals, like saying this character is going to get to level 20, yeah, I could do that. But if I'm focused on that, that becomes a blind side for me, and that's all that I care about. I might play either more recklessly or less recklessly based on it. Okay, so now let's get into some more nitty-gritty of it. If I'm practicing mindfulness, right, and I'm playing through a game like World of Warcraft or Borderlands or Minecraft or really anything, and by the way, the hardcore challenge isn't the only thing you could do. I'll go into that a little bit after. But if I'm playing this right, and I am noticing that I get lost and distracted, it's putting me more into the game. So that's a big piece of this mindfulness, is we're trying to be more into the game, more immersed. That's a big piece of that hardcore. On hardcore, yeah, I could stab this thing, run over here, fucking piss off this guy, right? Oh, shit. Now I've got myself a problem. This is hard to deal with. I might actually lose this character now. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not, because this is a beginner area. But this is actually, like, not advised in hardcore. You want to play this game as if you are that character. I want you to think of, like, if you're into anime, think of, for example, like, ah, shit. I'm drawing a blank. Oh man, the one with a Gunpla Online or whatever. Sword Art Online. There we go. Okay, jeez. Yeah. So think of. Oh, that's level 4. I'm a level 2. That's a big example. So think as though you are just been blipped into a game, and as where you're at, you have your resources, you need to get more resources, what you got is what you got. That changes things. If I think of this as a game, I could respawn. I come back to life. Losing this character means nothing to me, because it just respawns. It's a game. It's the purpose of it. However, when you play mindfully, and you put yourself in the game, how would you play if you were that character? If I was this orc, would I really want to pull as many packs as possible, throw caution to the wind, and try to get the job done as quickly as possible? Or, since I'm just starting off, would I maybe try to gauge where I'm at power-wise? I noticed I'm a little bit, I'm pretty strong, I'm not having issues with these boars. I have a way to pull if I want to. I could throw that. Get that one going. I could come over here. Throw that. Come back here. Start focusing. Blow my combo points. Kill, like, one of them. Oh, he's not dead. This character might actually die. Oh my god, this character might actually die. It's kind of fun. Kind of fun. Because you know what happens if this character dies? I delete it. I move on. It's on to the next one. So as you can tell, 3 boars, which if I was playing retail WoW, not a problem for me, right? I can do that all day. And the reason is, I don't care if I die. If you could tell, I got very close to dying. This character just started off. And I have to be willing to let go of this character if I do make a mistake. A big mistake. But I also have to be able to let go of the fact that I made that mistake and be ready to learn from it and then move on. So that's in where I would create a new character and move on. So we start to learn a few things about ourselves through this process. We start to learn things that frustrate us. We start to learn about our patience. We start to learn our lack of, our awareness, where that's at. Am I reading the quest? Am I going through it? It really adds a lot of different factors to the game. Now, if you remember, I had mentioned something earlier about how you can implement this in other games. It doesn't have to be like a hardcore challenge, but anything that's going to kind of put you immersively into the game to where you are able to feel as though you are either that character or you are operating the way that you would in that game. So, a big part of mindfulness, again, is we're going to be a little bit silly sometimes. Non-judgment. If you are playing a game such as let me think for half a second. Let's say you're playing let's say you're playing God of War, right? Kratos, big dude, big meaty dude, right? I'm not playing that game as though I'm CJ from Hippos R Us, the gaming channel. If I were, then I'm playing for entertainment. It's just a game. I'm not maximizing my time from it. I'm not getting a mindful experience out of it on top of it, which there's nothing wrong with it. However, if I want to game mindfully, if I play as though I am Kratos, and I think through how would Kratos behave, how would he act in this moment, that changes things. That completely changes things, as now I might not be making the same choices. You know? Let's think of like Elden Ring. Elden Ring was really, really good for this. In Elden Ring, you could write messages to each other, and I could just blindly believe those. But I'm gonna be honest, if I was in a terrifying world, such as Elden Ring, where everything wants to kill me, if I read a message that says, safety down below, jump ahead, or something like that, why would I trust that? What is my motivation? What is my character's motivation to trust such a thing? Because if I've just been transported into this world, just been rebirthed through their whole process and everything, whatever had happened, whatever, when I make a fresh character, why would I trust messages that are just popping up? Okay, that starts to change things a bit, doesn't it? It's not safe. And really, that's a big part of mindfulness, is we're trying to eliminate those outward distractions, make some decisions for ourselves, for our characters, and really be aware of what's around us. One of the things I've really liked about World of Warcraft Hardcore, one of the things I've really, really liked about the World of Warcraft Hardcore experience has been that it turns it into almost like a survival horror game, right? Actually, let me turn off my death log real quick. I realize that's up in the middle of this. It doesn't have a place for that. So when I'm exploring and everything, I need to be aware of what's around me. As you saw, when I pulled 3 boars, that's a bit of a challenge, right? I almost died from pulling 3. Now, if I were to take a look at this when I'm later on in the game, not even that far, I guarantee I could probably run just a little bit outside of here and I'll find some of these enemies, but eventually you get to a point where there are enemies that are red instead of yellow, right? Like, so if you look here, my guy is yellow title up here. He's not going to attack me when I walk by. That's essentially what it means. It means if I walk past him, it's not on sight. There are some that will do that. That will act as though it is on sight. It's fucking terrifying, right? And there's really not a whole lot I can do with that, because other than try to avoid them. So if I'm not paying attention while I'm running and I pull 3 things, or even 2 that I'm not ready, even 1 that's a boss or just a higher level NPC, it can completely destroy a run. So, I'm going to shift a little bit from focusing on just hardcore World of Warcraft or hardcore Minecraft, that type of a thing. But really a big thing with them is you want to think, what is the safest option? What am I doing? How am I operating? What is the logical way to operate throughout this? And what's going to keep me as focused at what I need to do? Okay, let's shift gears a little bit and let's just talk about some of those pillars again. So let's say we're playing other games. Let's pick a random, arbitrary, bizarre game for shits and giggles just to talk about this. I'm going to go with Guitar Hero, right? Okay. How can I play Guitar Hero mindfully? The guitar has nothing to do with guitars. I mean, shape-wise maybe, but it's not actual guitar chords or anything. I don't know much about music, but I guarantee you don't press 5 buttons and that's essentially, I can play guitar now, right? So how can we play that mindfully? Well, if you think of each note as you're playing in front of a live audience, okay, that's one step. That's one step where we start to feel some of that pressure of the audience on us. And maybe you operate in a way where you feel as though each note you need to pay attention to, and you need to be on top of it, and you need to be aware of when the next one's coming up, because you do not want to mess up and potentially ruin a concert, especially if you're a headlining act. Let's think of some other games here real quick. Try to jump outside of this. Let's try to think of like Fortnite, for example. You hop into a Fortnite game. The goal is always to win. Let's stop thinking about winning and trying to be winner chicken dinner and all that shit. Take a step back. How would your character react if you were dropped on an island? Yes, you would want to win. That is overall the goal. But you're not going to have the focus on winning if that was you in that island. You're just not. If you actually had gotten dropped and that's what's going on, most likely you're probably thinking, okay, how do I survive? How do I stay alive as long as possible? You're focused more on the survival piece rather than just winning. Okay. You might not run into a crowd of 3 or a group of 3. You might not rush a team. You might play a little bit more tactical. If you look at our gameplay, you don't have to, but if you take a look at our Borderlands 3 gameplay, often I will tell it might not be in the videos, but you might see her holding back here and there. But I might tell her, like, hey, hang back a bit. We got to take it slow. We got to slow push up. That's a big part of it, is we got to slow push up. Now, another thing you can do is do a little bit of role play with it. So I know not a lot of people are into RP and all that shit. I'm personally not into RP, even though I am a therapist. Even with my clients, I do not like RPing with them for anything that they're going with. Like, for example, RPing a conversation or anything like that. It's just not quite my style or something that I enjoy. However, if I was playing this, for example, I am a strong female orc assassin right now. And if I start to roleplay that a little bit while I'm playing, that can put me a little bit more into the game. So it makes it a little bit more immersive. And it also draws more of a connection to the character and to the moment. And again, that's our focus here, is we're trying to be as in the moment, as in tune with what is in front of us as we possibly can. So, as you could tell, there are a lot of ways that we can implement mindfulness in gaming. And I think this is just like a quick video on some of the strategies that I use, some of the strategies that, other options that could be implemented, and really there's quite a lot you could do just to expand, what you're getting out of a game. And I think we often see video games, a lot of people say video games are an escape, you're just trying to avoid your problems. And while that could be true, and I've said this in a different video, I think there's a difference between avoiding your problems and needing a break so that you can deal with them later. For example, if I get pissed off at work, I can't slap my boss. I can't yell at my boss. I can't raise my voice. So I'm not feeling my emotions. So if we were to use that same argument where I'm avoiding, somebody would say that I'm acting unhealthily because I'm not tapping into that, which would be inaccurate. That's why I hate that argument that video games are just a waste of time where you're not getting anything out of them and there are no benefits. And I hate the argument that if you're using them, you're just using them as an escape, a crutch. Okay. I think, yes, it could happen. It could happen. It does happen often. But if you're using them to let off a little bit of steam, you're dealing with your emotions. You know that you have a lot of shit going on. If you're practicing mindfulness, you're not directly thinking about them, but you are dealing with them. You're trying to let out some of that pressure, some of that emotion through engagement into the game. And I think it's frustrating when that's a fallback response that a lot of us gamers hear, is that we're just wasting our times, that we're just being lazy, we just don't want to deal with our emotions, because that's just simply not true. I don't believe that that's true. We are dealing with our emotions. Yeah, sometimes I want to play an orc and not be me for a bit. That's okay. Sometimes they need a break from being me. Being me can be hard. And you know what? I could be this orc for a little bit. But if I'm being this orc, I want to play as though I am this orc so I can get the most out of it. So I can actually make use of my time away from being myself. And that's really a huge benefit of mindfulness, is we do get to experience a lot of this stuff that could really help us out, really help us get the most out of everything and get the most out of a game, most out of life. And, you know, I think that a lot of people just have a hard time seeing that there are benefits from games. And honestly, I think the benefit of mindfulness in gaming is there's a lot we could do with that. There are training tools, for example, for doctors, for surgeons. That's mindfulness. That's career prep mindfulness. Like, that is an example of mindfulness. That's okay. We could practice mindfulness by doing that. And, you know, I know I'm just kind of sharing a bunch of examples right now, but it really is that elaborate, that we can really pull so much out of these games and get so much out of these that it really changes how things operate and how they go. Because if I know that I'm going to play this mindfully, I'm not going to play the same way if I was not. I believe I've started rambling quite too much right now, but if you got anything out of this and you enjoyed it, no pressure, but feel free to like, subscribe if that's what you're into. I'm never going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to make some suggestions. If you want them, cool. If not, not my place. So if you'd like to throw a subscribe, throw a like, I would appreciate it. If not, again, I don't care any which way. I just want to have fun with my channel. And hopefully teach a few folk a few things. Additionally, something that I'm really excited about is I have started the Discord server. It's got a lot of channels. There's channels for venting, channels for if you need any help, if you're looking for group members, if you want to hear a quote of the day, if you want to have some inspiration for the day, if you want to have a question of the day. There's quite a lot of stuff going on in that Discord. Again, that Discord is to be a positive community where people can connect and feel safe. I want to make I want to have mental health in gaming. I want to bridge that gap. I want to make it so that people are included and that there's a community that can be built where people don't have to be worried about who they are or scared to show who they are in this community. I want people to feel welcomed. I want people to feel cared about. I want people to feel as though at the end of the day they have a place to belong, and that's really the purpose of the Hippo Brigade, which is the name of the Discord server. I'm looking to bring people together so that we can all have a positive gaming experience, and you know, that's really my goal. So again, if you enjoyed it, the link for the Discord is going to be down in the description. On top of that, there's going to be a couple of other links. My friend Sean is a great DJ. I might put his link down there. I always include it because I do use a lot of his music in my videos. And yeah, until next time, I hope you have a great one. If you have any questions about mindfulness, feel free to drop them in the comments, because I answer every comment, and I'm a licensed clinical. Hold up, I missaid that. Licensed practicing counselor, licensed professional counselor. Oh, I always butcher those 3 letters. It gets confusing for me sometimes. But I am a counselor, so it's what I do for my work. I'm just simply trying to combine it to one of my other passions. So if you ever do have any questions, don't feel afraid to ask. I'm a very approachable person. I don't mind answering questions. If anything, it's comforting to answer questions for me, especially when it's in the realm of mental health. So until next time,